Welcome to the Activated Story Theater's 145th podcast.
This episode, we bring you The Legend of Slappy Hooper, a story from the United States.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
And I'm Kimberly.
And together we are the Activated Actors!
We are coming to you from Greenville, South Carolina.
And as we record this, it is Thanksgiving Day. So we may be a bit late in wishing you a happy Thanksgiving, but...
we wish you one anyway.
We wish you one anyway.
Yes.
If you hear a popping sound in the background, then it's probably my cranberries cooking. They they pop as they cook.
Fresh cranberries. We hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. We've been having some adventures since we last spoke with you. We went to a place called Exit Strategy
in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's somewhat similar to Five Wits, where our son Zephyr works.
Except different.
Except different.
Yes.
The same but different.
The same but different. In it, you go into a room and you have to solve a puzzle in order to get out. It's a very complicated puzzle.
Yes, you have to solve several puzzles to get out.
Yes, and find keys, and basically we failed.
You have 1 hour to find your way out of this room, and there are two different motifs. One is a 70s room, and the one we did is called Cabin in the Woods. And so that it's decorated like a cabin in the woods, and you have to find clues hidden all around you.
And that's about all we can tell you because we're sworn to secrecy.
Yes, we can't tell you a whole lot about it, but it is quite a challenge.
It is. We had a lot of fun doing it. And we did a residency program in Summerville, South Carolina, where we got to have theater workshops with all of the students there. And wow, what fun that was.
Yes, an entire week we did several performances at the school. We did a family night performance, and then we taught a whole bunch of workshops in theater, movement, a lot of fun stuff. Great students there.
Yes, love the students there. So hi, everybody in Summerville. We had a great time out there. And right now we've got a story for you. And it's called The Legend of Slappy Hooper, a story from the United States. There are many great heroes in American folklore. Heroes who sailed the seas, and tamed cyclones, and lassoed cattle, and cut down timber, and built railroads, and put out fires, and sometimes paused to do their laundry. Many of them were larger than life. The stories say that they were stories high. Paul Bunyan, old Stormalong, Pecos Bill. But there is another giant of a hero that people don't hear much about. His name was...
Slappy Hooper, legendary sign painter, at your service. I would give you my business card, but I don't think you have a wagon big enough to carry it.
He was not only the biggest painter anywhere in the world, he was the fastest. He just picked up his 4-foot paintbrush and slapped on a few strokes and...
voila! Another masterpiece completed.
But he wasn't just the fastest.
No, I'm also the bestest. Nobody can paint pictures as real as I can.
That's right. Slappy Hooper's paintings were so true to life looking that they looked as real as the real thing. Even realer, because they were bigger. Bigger. Some people say that when there was a drought, the farmers would hire him to paint storm clouds in the sky. And they looked so real that it would actually storm. I don't exactly know how he did that, but...
Well, I had sky hooks, so I could just hang my platform up there in the sky and paint away.
Right. Fact is, his painting was so true to life that it caused some problems. One day, for example, a bakery hired him. Now then, Mr. Hooper, I would like for you to paint me a big sign with a loaf of bread on it. If you give me a lot of bread, I will give you a lot of bread, as long as you don't loaf on the job.
You got it.
So he went down to the corner by the bakery, and he got out his paints, and... just like that, he had himself a sign painted with a ginormous loaf of bread on it. And before you know it, people gathered from all over to admire it.
Wow, that bread! What a wonder! It looks so delicious.
Smells delicious too. I might have to break off a big chunk and eat it.
Don't be silly, it's not real.
What do you mean? Bread that good has to be real.
No, it can't be real. Think about it. Have you ever in your life seen bread that looked or smelled that good?
Well, no, come to think of it.
There you are. If it's too real to be real, then it can't be real.
Makes sense, I guess. But the townspeople weren't the only ones who noticed what wonder that big loaf of bread was. The critters also came and tried to eat it. Dogs? Meow. Cats? Meow. Ants? Oh dear, this bread would be so lovely with a cup of tea. And uncles.
I haven't seen a loaf of bread this big since I hiked across Texas during a blizzard.
And worst of all, a huge flock of birds. Pecking and clawing at the picture of the loaf of bread, trying to devour it.
This reminds me of a story I heard that Hitchcock fella tell.
Until they totally ripped that sign to shreds, and the baker was not happy. That does it, Slappy Hooper. No more bakery signs for you until you learn to paint less better, or more ungood, or something like that.
Well, he was very disappointed to lose that job, but he went looking for another one, and soon he found one at a florist's shop. The florist said to him,
Now, Mr. Hooper, if you can paint a sign with a picture of roses so real that people try to water them, I'll pay you a bundle.
It's a deal. And you don't happen to have a handkerchief on you, do you?
I'm just allergic to my flowers. So Slappy got out his 4-foot paintbrush and paints and set to work. And in no time at all...
Ta-da! A sign real enough to give you hay fever.
And so it was. People came from all over to admire the giant flowers and even to sniff them because they all looked so real that they even had a fragrance like real roses.
Achoo!
Boy, you really are taken in by those painted roses, aren't you?
You should talk. You scratched yourself on the thorns.
But it wasn't just the people who were attracted to them. The bees also came. Swarms and swarms of bees to light on the flowers and collect pollen. And when they discovered they'd been cheated by a sign painter, they became very angry and started swarming all over people and stinging them.
Whoa, baking soda! Now the florist was quite a gossip, who told a few tall tales of her own.
And Slappy not only painted the roses too lifelike, he also painted bees to go along with them. And they were 6 feet long and had stingers like lightning bolts. And the bees didn't just hum, they hummed elevator music. So after that trouble with the birds and the bees, word got around that Slappy Hooper was a big liability, and hiring him was an invitation to bankruptcy. So it became harder and harder for him to find a job. Finally, however, he did get one more chance. The owner of the Jim Dandy Heat Stove Company decided to give him a try.
So here's the deal, Slappy. I know you're desperate for work these days, and I'm willing to give you a golden opportunity to save your reputation. So, if you can paint a sign for me that will double my business, then I will pay you enough to cover your expenses. Well, that's not exactly the best offer I've ever had, but it's the only offer I've had in quite some time, so I guess I'll agree.
And with that, Slappy got his big 4-foot paintbrush, and he got his paints, and he set to work. And in no time at all...
Success! I have painted a sign with a huge picture of a pot-bellied stove that the public will find really warming.
And so they did. From miles around, people came to marvel at the sign and to warm their hands by the fire. And since winter was coming on, hobos began to trudge into town and camp out by the sign to stay warm. They even drove nails into it to hang pots on and cook their food. The mayor did not like that at all. So he came to Slappy and said,
"Now see here, Mr. Hooper. Thanks to your painting being too skillful, you've turned this town into one big homeless shelter."
Sorry, but I was hired to make a realistic painting of a stove.
"Well then, how about you make it even more realistic? Go back and paint the flames even hotter, so it'll be too hot for anyone to want to stand next to it."
So that's what Slappy did. He went back and turned the red-hot flames into white-hot flames. And then the sign was too hot for anyone to stand near, so the hobos all left. But then the real trouble began. When the sign got too hot and heated up the building next to it, which burst into flames. Soon half the town was ablaze, and the people got very angry with Slappy.
Uh-oh. This might be my cue to take a long vacation.
Yes, Slappy's sign painting days were numbered, and he was not one to paint by numbers. So he slipped out of town, and nobody ever heard from him again. Rumor has it that he moved out to Arizona and painted an entire desert. In any case, nowadays, whenever there are gorgeous leaves on New England trees in the fall, or a huge, brilliantly colored rainbow hanging up in the sky, some folks say it's proof that Slappy Hooper never completely retired.
And that's the story of Slappy Hooper from the United States. That's a pretty recent folktale.
It sounds like a more recent one.
It is. It's only about maybe 100 years old. It first appeared in print in 1946, but it is a genuine folktale. It's just pretty modern.
Wow.
And it appears to have been inspired by some of the older tall tales like Paul Bunyan and Old Stormalong and Pecos Bill.
Nice, nice. So we do have some shows coming up that are public, and we will be, after we leave South Carolina, we are heading to Florida. And in Miami, the Miami Lakes area, at the library, you can catch a show on the 15th or 16th of January. So we'll be there for 2 days. Just drop by our website, activatedstorytheater.com, for those show times. And when we're done with that, we'll be on our way to Arkansas.
We have Florida, Arkansas, and Texas coming up in the next few months.
So you can catch us in Arkansas on February 2nd at 6 o'clock in Eudora, Arkansas. And then after that, we're heading to Texas and, like I said, California. In March, we'll be at the Tiburon Library, and then we've got a library in San Jose. And so catch a show. We'll be talking to you before then, but drop by our website anytime, activatedstorytheater.com, for more stories and to see when we'll be performing near you.
And we hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We'll talk to you next time.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Activated Story Theater is committed to bringing fun, educational shows to schools and libraries nationwide. On stage, we use physical comedy, American Sign Language, imaginative props, and a giant, oversized book to bring multicultural folktales to life. For booking information, check out our website, activatedstorytheater.com, where you can also find out when the activated actors will be performing near you, read a story, or order one of our audio CDs. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or listen on Stitcher. We look forward to your comments and folktale suggestions. Stay activated. Until next time.